Pulavinaka and Namaste. I'm Vijay Narayan. You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. This week we've got a special guest all the way from Western Australia, from Perth, and he will be talking about his journey, his life-changing experience. Just had a life-changing surgery, and today our guest right here in Fiji, we are connecting via Zoom. He went to Suva Grammar School. He's been living in Perth, Australia since the 1980s. And last week, at the age of 62, he walked out of the hospital 2 days after undergoing one of the most advanced brain surgeries ever performed in Western Australia. Harold Nair has lived with epilepsy for most of his life. Medication wasn't enough, but a cutting-edge laser procedure so precise that surgeons barely needed to touch his skull has changed everything for him. Not a single seizure since. His story is very personal. His message to all of us, especially those in Fiji who are living with epilepsy right now, many of them in silence, many of them ashamed, some of them believing it's something it is not. Harold, welcome to Straight Talk. It's great to have you this evening.
Good to be.
Harold, take us back to Suva first. You grew up here. You went to Suva Grammar School. Paint us a picture of your childhood. What was life like for a young Harold Nair in Suva?
My life in Suva was amazing in a way. I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed school, good group of friends I made, and with my personality, it was good. So in general, had a really good time. One of the best I've had that I'll never forget.
So Harold, tell us a bit about yourself. Where were mom and dad from, and about your family, your siblings?
Okay, we were born, the whole family, in Taveuni, right? Mum came from Vanuatu and dad Taveuni. They met, so we were from Samoa. We grew up in a very strong Christian family. And if I can tell a little bit about the Christian family, how we became Christian, it's the very old days. We used to have what Mum was telling us. It was open air preaching outside. And so what happened was the preaching was there's God, that God can heal. So when I was born, Mum said I was a still baby. Then Mum said to the pastor, "Hey pastor, you've been preaching about healing, people coming back to life. Here's my son. He's not breathing." So the pastor laid hands on me and Mum said I started moving. So we became a very strong Christian family thereon.
You had your first seizure, Harold, while you were still at school in grammar. And I want to ask you about it. I know it would not be easy to go back there, but what do you remember about that day and what actually happened?
Okay, what happened was we had a long day at school. And it was a school event, and the boys went on with us drinking kava, and we all had a great time. And it went on with no sleep. Tiredness was felt, and I felt really tired. And then we had to go to a funeral the very next day. So straight from school, after all that good time with mates, I was at the funeral, and all I knew, I collapsed. First seizure was then. And it drew a lot of attention from the story I heard. And it was, is he okay? What's wrong? What did he do? That was my first experience with seizure.
Were you diagnosed straight after that collapse? Were you taken to the medical experts? Did they give a diagnosis straight after that?
I really don't remember. You know, Mum and Dad would have taken me to the hospital. But even later on talking, there was nothing about epilepsy or about it. No.
So it was unknown what you were suffering from.
Yeah.
Harold, we know in Fiji that epilepsy still carries a lot of stigma. Some people think it's witchcraft. Some families are ashamed. As a young boy going through this, what was the reaction around you?
At that stage, for me was, I've got to live a normal life. So school was just normal, and school were where most of my friends were. And it wasn't spoken about at all.
So you did not face any kind of judgment, or what about personally? Were you ashamed of it, that there was something wrong?
No.
So Harold, you pushed ahead and eventually went into employment, I believe at Procera Music in Suva. Did you still face those challenges, those seizures, and how did you overcome them?
How I overcame that was I had a focus to get on with my life. And I was really strong about that. I've got to go on with my life, get a job, and just live a normal life like anyone else. And that helped me move on.
How often were you getting seizures when you were in Suva?
Not much at all. I'd say hardly one a year.
From your experience, would you be aware of what happened when you have the seizures, when you did get the seizures?
Okay, so what I feel a sensation in my head. You know, I feel a sensation, and then also like goosebump on my head.
That's all you would remember.
And at times when people tell me if I get a real strong one, people could see me, I'll be just staring still. And sometimes I get saliva.
Harold, what was the support system like in Fiji back then? And what was available medically for you to assist you? You first said, Fiji, you didn't get a diagnosis that you had epilepsy?
To be honest, there was nothing there for epilepsy at that time. Maybe there was, but we weren't given the exposure to what's available for help or cure.
You eventually moved to Australia in the 1980s. Harold, first of all, describe to us your change from Fiji to Australia. How old were you, and what were your first impressions when you moved there?
Okay, I was 22, and moving, the experience was, first my goal was to get a job, a good job, build my future, which I did, and I did extremely well. I had no thoughts at all about my illness. So I was just kind of focus, study, get a job, and it's always been a land of opportunities, which helped me.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
to 27th of June. Fiji Showcase 2026 at the Vodafone Arena. Suva! Fiji Showcase. Fiji Showcase.
Welcome back. You're watching Fiji Village Trade Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight is Harold Nair, and after successful brain surgery that lasted for 6 hours in Western Australia, in Perth, he's talking to us directly from Perth tonight. And Harold, we're so grateful to be hearing your story, the story about resilience and courage despite all the challenges that you've been through. Now, we left off with you moving to Melbourne with a family and eventually settling in Perth. As you grew older, of course, you went at 22 and you went into further education and trying to build your life. Were the seizures still coming back, or were they becoming more frequent or more serious?
Okay, when I moved to Perth, that's where it has seriously started affecting me. For so many years, I didn't have it. Moving to Melbourne, I didn't have it at all. And moving to Perth, and I was more aware of my illness. And then, because I was always in exposure doing sales, always meeting people. One of the main things that really did affect me was thinking more and overthinking of my illness. And what that did for me was putting pressure and also building stress around it. And from all my diagnoses, because I started seeing a neurologist in Perth about my illness. So we started from where we grew up, and also we got down to how it starts, what triggers it. And for me was from the diagnosis that it was stress, overthinking, not enough sleep, not sleeping well, and pressure that caused my focal seizure. And that turned my life around, where it made me feel what people are thinking of me. I was still operating normal, but on occasions I can feel it coming, and that was where it started affecting me and my lifestyle.
You talked about those around you. You started thinking of what they were thinking when you were going through this and you facing this more and more. Were you starting to get ashamed, as you had earlier said? This started to coming based on you thinking of what other people would be thinking of you?
Oh yes, in a huge way. In a huge way, I'm saying, it's because people don't really know about this. They look at it in a different way. Right? So, yes, it did.
Did you continue to get help? You had started discussions with a neurologist. Was that helping?
It was helping me a lot, because that's where medication started. All the testing that was necessary for the illness started, and it was all in that neurological system where different tests was done, and that started strengthening me again and giving me that hope.
You lived with the condition for decades, medication, management, and getting on with life as best as you could. What does that actually look like day to day for you and for your family before the surgery?
Okay, before the surgery, my family, they all live in Melbourne. They were very often ringing me because everyone knew that one of the major cause of my illness was, like I said before, was stress, not resting. And they were regularly ringing me saying, "How are you going to bed early? And how are you feeling?" The family support was massive, even till today, yes.
And Harold, unfortunately, you've also had near-death experiences, which may not have been easy. I know it's not easy to talk about those things, but as you said, you wanted to share your journey so that it can help others. If you wouldn't mind, if you could share some of those near-death experiences that you've had and how dangerous they were.
Okay, with my job that I did as a salesperson, driving was a necessity. You've got to drive doing sales. And if I could share this with people that go through this, don't drive. And why I'm saying this, I had 4 massive car accidents. And the 4, how I survived, God knows. The very last accident I had, even going to doctors, "Are you capable of driving?" I said, "Yes, but I know I didn't." So my last accident was that bad that I was in ICU for 5 days. And then I had a phone call. Sorry, my sister had a phone call at home saying that, "Please come to the hospital." And then my sister Doreen said, "Is Harold okay?" Doctor said, "No, we don't think he'll make it." But that was then. So what my point is, you can kill somebody, which I could have done. Very close. And I don't know how I would have lived knowing what I've done. That's something I shouldn't have. So the fact is, sometimes with our illness, we just got to accept it, that things that
You can do it.
you can or you cannot do. And the stuff that we cannot do, we think hard and think why I cannot do. And one thing very strongly, catch a bus, catch a taxi. I haven't driven for 3.5 years after my car accident. That was a massive wake-up call for me. Harold, what are you doing? So yeah, 3 years.
So, Harold, when medication wasn't doing enough anymore, when the doctors came to you and said that there's something else available, something different, completely different, what was going through your mind?
Hope and chances of getting quality of my life back.
And I do understand that you are also the first Australian to use a specially made 3D printed frame made in the United States that helps surgeons map your brain to find the exact area they needed to target during the surgery. What was that like when they explained what that would do? Explain that to you? And did you see that beforehand? And did you understand what it was going to do?
Okay, with the surgeons, neurologists that put me on to the surgeon, they explained to me, we're waiting for this to come through, and they explained that a bit. And one, if I can share this, and one of the issue was funding for instruments. And I think that was quite big, the funding issue for this. And then they explained, the surgeon did explain to me the whole procedure. And also, in general, I asked what's involved. They said it's not like the old days where they cut you open and get to the fault. But with this new technology, there'll be just a couple of holes drilled on your head, and then they'll be guided by MRI and CT scan. And in the build up to this, all the CT scans, MRI, all that was done to show where the actual issue was in my brain that was the cause of epilepsy. And then the surgeon also explains the process, how it's going to work. So what they did was they inserted 8 forgecules, they call it. So it's like little piece of iron, about 2 millimeters. They inserted around. So that, I think, it guided and made it, gave them more accuracy because it's in the brain on where to penetrate. So, and then they also told me with the surgery, with yours, it looks like very invasive. So then I could understand how much it was involved. So then they told me you will be in the MRI and CT scan for at least 7-8 hours of the surgery. So with the main surgery, what they did, they drilled a pencil-sized hole, the side and the back. And from where the main outside of the laser was sitting in that first hole that was drilled, there was a little tiny 2 millimeter rod, say about 3-4 inches from what I understand. And there was a fiber attached to the end of what actually went in. So what that fiber did was expose heat, the temperature. And that temperature was guided from the surgeon outside looking at the screen on where it's going. So with that, why they were that precise is not to damage any other parts of the brain. And then the surgeon also explained to me, to relax me in a way, which was a fact, he told me the whole thing, is outside the heat where the temperature is, there's also a cold outside coolant that will protect any other part of the brain. It was amazing.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
Bulla Fiji villagers, we've had a bit of a glow up and we know some of you are probably wondering, hey wait, where did the videos go? Don't worry, we didn't hide them. The video section has a brand new name and it's now called Watch. That means all your favorite videos and shows are now in one place and easier to find. Want your Fiji Village Straight Talk with Vijay Narayan? It's there. Looking for Ndrending Amovengu? It's there too. Latest videos? Yep, all there. Don't miss the Watch section on Fiji Village, your trusted news provider for the latest videos, stories, and shows all in one place. Go and have a look and tell us what you're watching first.
Welcome back. You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight is Harold Nair, and he is a true son of Fiji, of course, born in Taveuni, raised in Suva, and went to school at Suva Grammar School before moving to Melbourne and on to Perth, and has had life-changing surgery in Western Australia. And what a story it is. What a story. And his journey continues, many exciting things coming up. Harold, thank you again for sharing your story. Take us into the hospital on the day you walked in to have your surgery. What do you remember?
Going into surgery, the night before, I thought a lot about it. So we've been waiting for this for nearly 22 years. Talking about it with my urologist, and that morning I couldn't believe it was a day for me to go. And I walked into the hospital with hope and confidence.
No fear at all?
No fear at all. I didn't even think, or it came in my mind, of the risk. Like, there is risk in just about everything we do. And there was a huge support that I knew, being a Christian, a true believer. I had a prayer army behind me. And I thought, I've got God. He'll do what's best for me. And that was my strength.
You came around after the surgery, a very positive outcome. What were some of the first things that you felt, and what were some of the first thoughts that you remember after the surgery?
The first thing was, well, it's done. And the feeling itself was massive, a relief, and the thoughts of quality of my life ahead, something to look forward to with excitement, freedom. And also one of the things that came into my mind was, I'm happy to talk about epilepsy. Very happy to share my story. That it's just a medical condition. It's an illness. And I thought if I could bring it out there. And I was one person that was too embarrassed to tell my close friends, my really close friends, that I've got epilepsy. But with what happened, with my experience with surgery, yeah, and I thought, no, I'm going to be open about this and give hope to people that there are options. I mean, we're living in these days now where technology is a massive thing, something we didn't have 40 years ago. What we have now is unbelievable and gets better.
It's been how many days since you've had the surgery, Harold?
It's 2 weeks today. And every morning I wake up, the feeling is amazing. It's massive. It's massively good because I feel the difference. Even there were nights I wasn't sleeping after surgery, just because I wanted to read magazines or watch television. I was that confident that, Harold, you're back. You're a different person. And within me, that was a feeling that I didn't have in the past. And every day, it's just getting better and better. My confidence is back. I'm a very confident, always have been a very confident person, strength, mind-wise. And with all of this, it's done. And I'm back.
You shared something with me, Harold, about your personal emotions, about something like someone winning a World Cup. If you can describe your personal emotions about this next step that you're taking and the emotions that are coming with it, as you describe you're a different person now.
Okay. Like my neurologist is known as one of the top, right, in Australia. Dr. Lawn, right? Dr. Nicholas Lawn. Been going through all this time. It was like a training run. And it came to the finish line where it was all done. And the joy, I know you hear, I don't know if everyone has heard of, maybe, okay, I'll give you an example. Winning sevens rugby. The joy it gives people. That's my feeling. I've seen that. And if it's, you want it to the extreme, which I feel is like you see the joy of the team that wins World Cup. And the country that celebrates. The winning country that celebrates. And that's me, personally, after this. It's an illness, a medical condition in me, which is normal, and it's gone.
What about your family around you? I know some of them flew in from within Australia to be around you during this time, during this very special time for you?
To be honest, I hear them on the phone a fair bit, telling, oh, Harold's surgery's done. He could have been home the next day. And he is looking so good. He's looking so good. And you could feel, I could feel, it gave me tears to see them not just rejoicing, as their brother's healed. And my whole family in Melbourne, my brother Philip, my sister Doreen, they came to be with me as support, and you could see their joy, their satisfaction, and the rest of my family in Melbourne with phone calls, my close friends, and also, like I said before, I'm very open talking about this illness. There was exposure through the media in Perth, and the amount of phone calls I received was, Harold, thank you for sharing. You've done a big thing that will or could help a lot of people with their thoughts about the illness. And that's what I'm looking forward to. If I could share my story, if it could help somebody accept the illness, that it is an illness, and at the same time, it's not a cheap thing to do. It'll cost a lot of money. So my point is, if governments can fund in some way, what it'll do to people that suffer. It's a huge illness. I mean, there's a lot of illnesses out there. The more funding we get, there's more and more opportunities of people getting better, not just with epilepsy, helping with research. And that is another point. It's good to see that is growing, and hopefully it spreads to other countries. And even in Australia, I do hope that it'll be available to a lot more people.
Harold, I want you to speak directly to the families or family in Fiji right now, maybe watching this on Fiji Village or even listening to the podcast. Maybe a family whose child is having seizures or whose parent collapsed somewhere, and they may be terrified. They don't know what it is, or maybe someone in the neighborhood is whispering that it's something else. What do you say to these families, Harold?
Don't be ashamed. It's a medical condition. Don't worry about what people say. Don't worry. You look after those that you love.
Yes.
What they need is support and love. Because the illness is, I mean, epilepsy, there's so many different sorts of epilepsy. You'll get fit. Fit is one of the major ones where you drop down, and that's where it draws a lot of attention. And I know it gives story, but give them love. Give them hope. Give them support. They need it. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. epilepsy. And now I believe it's more open. I've heard of celebrities talking about having epilepsy, and these things never used to happen. And here I am today, Vijay, talking to you about it. It's something I wouldn't have done in the past. And now I'm sharing it. So don't be ashamed about it. If anybody talks negative out there, ignore it. It's an illness. There's nothing there to be embarrassed about. And there is help out there. What I'd say is you go to your local GP, your local doctor, as a start. Keep talking about it. Give them a full explanation what and how it's affecting your life. And 100% it's their profession to help medical condition sufferers, and they will help and lead you to the right direction. Don't be ashamed about it. No.
Now, Harold, now you are one of the most pioneering brain surgery patients in Western Australia. Great success story. Of course, you're already flying the flag and you're talking to people about it. What is next for you?
What's next for me is, and I told this to my neurologist and my surgeon, if I can just talk to someone and give them hope with my experience, that's one. Another thing, I own a business, make that grow, and it's a very good hospitality industry I'm in, and I can see my future and the expansion of this business with my new life, my new quality of life. I'm a new person. I'm a person. Sky's the limit. The confidence in me is back. And all I can say is, wow. We pray a lot. We ask God, help me. And from my experience, and I share this in church, God gives us the way He thinks is best. And my answers to my prayers, He got me the right surgeon, the right instruments, and that was His way. Of me being a totally confident person again.
Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. We know just coming out days after having your surgery and already encouraging others and staying strong and giving this message. I know it's so powerful and it's so amazing that what you've been through. You have carried something heavy for a very long time, and you have come through the other side. The fact that you're sitting here today and willing to share all of this with us and willing to speak directly to Fijian families back home who are going through something similar, that says everything about the kind of person you are. And to everyone watching and listening, epilepsy, as Harold is saying, is not something to be ashamed of. It is a medical condition that can affect anyone and at any age. And as Harold's story shows us, there's hope. There's hope, and we continue to persevere. If you have family members who are going through similar situations, do not give up on them. Continue to stand with them and continue to share and spread the love that we so desperately need during these times. That's our show for tonight. Until the next fortnight, have a great evening.